Hello, my friends. Welcome to our fall children's Bible stories. Can you believe it? It's number 5 already. And this is, of course, sermons by request. Someone requested that if I could add a commandment to the 10 commandments that God gives us, what would it be? Well, real quickly, I'll tell you things that I was told were really, really important. I was told that on Sunday you can't play games. Really? Bible doesn't tell me that. And I know a man who was scolded by a priest in church because his shirt wasn't white. Had to have white shirts. Where does God say that? Some of the missionaries from the United States and from Western Europe, they went to the Hawaiian Islands. Now, in the Hawaiian Islands, the humidity was so bad that people wanted to wear fewer clothing. It was hot and humid. And these early missionaries were telling the native Hawaiianers, this is in the 1800s, 1700s, you can't expose a woman's breast and still be a Christian. And so some of the women dressed up. They put more clothing on. They got skin rashes. See? These commandments that humans come up with really are not good. You know what I'd be happy with is if we remembered the 10 commandments and we actually followed them. I bet some of the people who come up with new commandments, if we asked them, what are the 10 commandments? They'd go, I'm not sure. How about we review them? Because I think all the commandments come down to one. I think if we follow one commandment, we have followed them all. Let's read them together. Okay? I'm going to screen share for you. Here we go. This takes place at a place called Mount Sinai, where Moses led the people of Israel out of slavery in Egypt. And they came to Mount Sinai, and Moses went up the mountain and talked to God, and God gave him these commandments. Here we go. I am the Lord your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of slavery. You shall have no other gods before me. You shall not make for yourself an idol, whether in the form of anything that is in heaven above, the earth beneath, or in the water under the earth. You shall not bow down to them or worship them, for I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, punishing children for the iniquity of parents to the third and fourth generations of those who reject me, but showing my steadfast love to the thousandth generation of those who love me and keep my commandments. You shall not make wrongful use of the name of the Lord your God, for the Lord will not acquit anyone who misuses his name. Remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. 6 days you shall labor, do all your work. The seventh is a Sabbath to the Lord your God. You shall not do any work. You, your son, your daughter, your male, female servant, your livestock, or the alien who resides in your towns. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that is in them, but rested on the seventh day. Therefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and consecrated it. Honor your father and your mother so that your days may be long in the land that the Lord is giving you. You shall not murder. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. You shall not covet your neighbor's house. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife or male or female slave, or ox or donkey, or anything that belongs to your neighbor. Those are the 10 commandments that we are told by God to live by. And I think it comes down to one commandment: stealing. See, if we use God's name vainly, we're stealing honor from God. And if we let anything interrupt our worship of God, we're stealing the worship that belongs to God. If we, as some people asked me, how come there's no commandment about sharing, the rich sharing with the poor? Well, I think there's a commandment on that. If we are rich, and we don't care about those who have less, we're stealing a good life from those people. And perhaps we're stealing their health if they're malnourished. If we abuse a child, we are stealing the goodness that comes from being a child. Of course, if we murder someone, we're stealing their life. That's a little bit obvious. But it comes down to taking things that don't belong to us. Now, just suppose you saw a colony of monkeys, okay? Monkeys in a tree. And one monkey's got a million bananas. And there's monkeys who are starving. And that monkey won't give any bananas to those who are starving. Wouldn't you say there's something mentally wrong with that monkey? Well, we've got people like that too. People who've got gazillions of food, gazillions of dollars. And when they don't share with people who have none, well, they're stealing a life sometimes from those other people. So a commandment to share, I think it's built right in. You don't steal the health and livelihood and well-being from someone else. Well, there's some people who don't like these 10 commandments. It threatens them. They don't like what they hear, and so they invent other things. You've got to dress a certain way to be a Christian. Not really. If you're dressing intentionally provocatively, well, you're calling attention to yourself and away from God. So, yeah, you're stealing again. But who cares what shirt you wear? Who cares your hairstyle? That's silliness that humans invent. I hope we stop inventing commandments, and I hope for once, just once, we memorize those commandments and try to live with them and by them and never, ever, ever steal from someone else anything, even if it's dignity, even if it's what they need to survive, even if it's any kind of well being. Because then we're breaking God's commandments and we will not be God's friend and we'll never have a right to ask God for anything as long as we are defying it. And so, my friends, that's what I have to say about the 10 Commandments. And should we add to them? Never. Jesus talked about that too. He said, anyone who adds to these commandments is cursed. And anyone who takes away some of those commandments, they're cursed also. These 10 were given to us for a reason. Let's learn them. Let's follow them. God will be glorified. Well, I think we're all wrapped up for this week. Please come and join me next week for sermons by request. Next week will be what? I guess it'll be part 6. I hope to see you then. God bless you this week.